Real news. Honest and fun political talk weekly on the Line 90.7 FM. First thing we need to talk about is the tapes Milo Yiannopoulos leaked of Richard Spencer going on a psychopathic rant about Jews, black people, every minority group pretty much that he hates after the Charlottesville riots. I can't repeat what he said, obviously, on this show, and nor am I going to play it. But if you go to YouTube, go to Milo Yiannopoulos' YouTube channel, you can watch a video where Richard Spencer goes on this like absolutely crazy rant. And the thing is, like, it didn't entirely surprise me, but when you hear the anger, the hatred, and the vitriol in his voice, like, it just shows you, like, this guy is either, like, I personally think, in my opinion, he could be some sort of, like, CIA or controlled opposition plant sort of thing. Like, he could just be controlled opposition, but at the same time, he could also just be a total psychopath. So I don't know what he is, but he's absolutely insane, and this video just shows you how he just lost it. He was so angry and hateful, and he was like just going off by blaming the Jews for things. And he was blaming the Jews for things, blaming a whole bunch of other people for things. It was just ridiculous. What do you guys think of it?
Yeah, it wasn't surprising.
No, I couldn't watch it all because I watched the edited or I listened to the edited version of the tapes, and like half the thing was like a bleep. So yeah, I couldn't really, but I pretty much got the gist of it.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight, Mr. Spencer. You hate pretty much everybody. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Everybody except for white people. Got it. Okay.
I don't even know if he likes white people, to be honest.
Well, it was interesting. So you like listened to the first rant. He was with JF, noted what was it, autistic groomer? If that's what I understand about JF. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this guy, because that was the original part of it. He was in a talk with him. I know he used to be on like a few of those internet blood sports things.
Yeah, I've heard of JF before.
Yeah, no, it was very kind of funny because like Richard Spencer was getting really upset over the fact that like some people, you know, in the alternative right sphere were like religious, because he's, you know, an atheist. And I thought that was interesting that he was like getting so butthurt over that.
He was.
Then the second part, like it kind of sounded like he was just, you know, an egotistical crybaby. He's like, oh, you know, we lost. Like he was just, it was almost funny, but like, kind of sounds like a guy who's like on a cocaine withdrawal. Like he kind of looks like, you know, the Wolf of Wall Street sort of dude.
Yeah, he's like Leonardo DiCaprio from Wolf of Wall Street. Like he loses all his money, and he's like, "No, why?" He's like a big, like, rich crybaby. It's like, dude, grow up.
No, his mom just took his Xbox. That's why.
Oh yeah, now he's like rage quitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a pathetic failure.
Honestly, though, why are people still even paying attention to this guy? Like, what has Richard Spencer really even done other than just like give interviews like CNN and like Vox?
Well,
what has he actually accomplished in his life?
He did do that Charlottesville rally, which was a total success. Irony noted.
So, like, was he the one that set up, or did he just kind of co-opt it?
I'm not 100% positive, but I know he had a big. He was definitely involved with it quite a bit. I don't know if he was actually the main man behind it.
No, he was a big influence on it. I would.
But there's other people. Like, was he the one who started, or is he, just involved with it in some level?
I'll Google that right now, actually, to fact check it.
Because I don't even know if he started that. He just seems so totally like, he doesn't even do anything. Like, he's just kind of there to go and take interviews because he's got, these out there beliefs about whatever. Like, what are you doing? Like, he had, like, I think he had some sort of show or talk show or like internet publication or something, which no one even cares about.
Yeah, I know. Like, he has hardly, like, his followers, like, on Twitter and YouTube have totally plateaued at around like 70, 80,000. He hasn't grown at all because nobody likes him. Everyone hates him. Everybody thinks he's an idiot. He did organize that rally, the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, with Jason Kessler. They're listed on Wikipedia as the two main organizers of the rally. And
okay. So you organized a failed rally. Oof.
Yeah, he organized the worst optics rally ever, where somebody died. They were killed, by one of his own alt-right people. It's so bad. I know. He is pretty much irrelevant, but he's also, let's be honest, guys, like, this is a major blow to CNN because one of their contributors is now in trouble.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Wasn't he on Jake Tapper or something?
Yeah, he's a credible voice on CNN. He's their contributor on anything related to Donald Trump.
Yeah, like, and this is like, weren't they the ones that always said like, oh, you shouldn't be giving these alt-right people
a platform. Yeah,
right. They used to yell at the the right platforms for having a platform for alt-right people, even though most of them really weren't alt-right. I don't think really any of them actually, but then you go and hire the most alt-right dude there is.
Yeah.
Like, what do you...
How much do you think he actually believes what he says? Like, honestly, I think
don't know.
He's probably like an FBI plant.
That was my theory, partially, is that he could be an FBI, CIA plant that's controlled opposition, or because they also have stuff where in that I think he got court hearing or lawsuit, whatever, for like beating his wife. The guy is insane. Or like, did they just sort of pluck him out and they're like, okay, this is who we'll use as our alt-right figurehead. He'll be our, they kind of like pushed him as that sort of figure.
Yeah, no, I honestly don't think he believes in what he preaches. Cause like, I saw this thing where he was apparently dating like some like feminist, like Wiccan person. And like, he's an atheist and all this other stuff. And like, I don't know. He just does not seem to be the sort of person, like, he doesn't have any kids. He claims to be part of the alt. Well, I don't think he has any kids.
Yeah, he's not doing a good job at continuing the white race, is he?
No, he's really not.
No
and
way.
I think he didn't he date like an Asian person too? So it's kind of against his own ideology. Like, this guy's. I think he's just a fraud. He probably just takes people's money and pretends to be, this like crazy guy.
He's a Nazi LARPer.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's the Kylo Ren of the alt-right.
Wait,
like,
no.
what does he like? Who was that? Like, the only other person like he really even does shows with is like this JF guy who took money from George Soros. And
What?
He admitted to it.
What?
Yeah, like there was a video where he admitted to taking like a donation from George Soros.
Oh,
and that was
God.
funny because he was on a live stream with like Richard Spencer when he said that. And even Richard Spencer was like,
When you even go over the line for Richard Spencer, like, that's when you've really gone far. Did you find something to her?
Yeah, I think they did have kids actually with this woman, Nina Kuprievnova.
Yeah, the Russian immigrant?
Yeah, the Russian immigrant. Apparently they did have a kid or something.
Oh, God. I feel sorry for
Trying to
that
look into
kid.
it, yeah.
Was it a mail order bride?
Yeah, it's probably the only way he could get like a wife or a
how
girlfriend.
does this guy even have the money? Like, where is he getting his income?
His parents are
CNN.
wealthy. Oh yeah, or CNN, but like his parents, I think, are rich. I don't know what they are, what they did, but I think his parents are rich, so he's just a spoiled brat.
He just seems like a trust fund baby.
I know this is probably tied to a joke that somebody else said, but how long are these like racist white power meetings? Like, what could they possibly be talking about? Like, I would imagine it'd be like something like, okay, so weekly update, we still hate everybody, right? Yeah, we're still hating everybody, right? Okay. Yeah. Janice, are we still doing the bake sale for the? No. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what he does. Like, what's because he calls himself like a community organizer, or his defenders will. Like, what communities is he organizing, and what do they do at those meetings? Yeah, like he said, it's like, oh, we hate everyone that isn't us. Yeah, okay, moving on.
You know, I hate Saul Alinsky, but at least he published something.
Dude, Saul Alinsky's smart though. Saul Alinsky knows what he's
smart.
doing.
Like, he actually published something. He actually did stuff.
I have respect for him.
I mean, I think he's terrible, but he has some good advice in his book. But like Richard Spencer, he probably couldn't get a book published. I don't think he even knows how to like write things in that would actually get people interested in listening to it.
And the funny thing too is like when the left goes, "Oh, Milo should be deplatformed. He spreads hate. He spreads bigotry." Where are they all? Where are they calling for the deplatforming of Richard Spencer? He's still on Twitter. He's still on YouTube. He's still on Facebook, I assume. He's still on like every platform. And it's because he's ineffective. Nobody cares about him. And the left needs somebody to, some boogeyman to smear the right as racist. So they keep him on. And, CNN invites him into their studios as a contributor. They don't invite Milo on. They don't invite, any of Trump's influential supporters on, like Alex Jones, Gavin McGinnis. None of those people get a platform. No, you gotta shut them down, you gotta throw them in jail, you gotta silence them, you gotta censor them. But Richard Spencer is A-OK, and he can receive a title as a CNN contributor.
Wait, does he actually have that title?
I'm not even kidding you. If you look at the video where Richard Spencer's on CNN recently, like out of the blue, like a few months ago, they invited him on. I think it was when Donald Trump made the tweet where he said Ilhan Omar and the gang, or not the gang, the squad, should go back to their countries of origin, fix it up, show how their socialist policies would work, and then come back here. Richard Spencer was invited on CNN, and when you read like the graphics at the bottom, it says Richard Spencer, CNN contributor.
That's gotta be like like a YouTube troll or something.
No. I've seen the video. It's on CNN's actual YouTube. This thing is for real.
Oh my God. CNN, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, let me see if I can. I'm actually going to have to find the actual. Oh, yeah, here it is. It says Richard Spencer, white nationalist.
A CNN contributor.
I don't know if it actually said CNN contributor, but they put, I think, contributor on there or something. It's so funny. It's one of the funniest things you've ever seen, ever.
That's nuts.
I
think a little bit of that, though, is the amount of threat. Like, Richard Spencer's not really much of a threat.
No.
So, like, they need, these liberal outlets, they need a non-threatening figure to compete with, because usually they a lot of these mainstream media outlets, they have whenever they talk about a topic, it's always like 3 liberals and then 1 conservative, and then all of them gang up on the conservative. Like,
well, to be fair, Fox does the same thing with
that's what I was Fox does do it too, but I'm saying, if the conservative or the person that is like the person that they're trying to gang up on is an easy target or is not threatening, then it makes for better for everybody or their fan base or whatever. If it's somebody like Milo Yiannopoulos, or like somebody that's actually smart enough to call them out on their BS or whatever, then it doesn't really bode as well.
Oh, well, here's the thing. I pulled up the CNN video. It doesn't say CNN contributor on there, but they have him like in studio, mic'd up, with nice lighting. He's basically a contributor. He may not be
that's still different, though. You can't.
Well,
maybe one thing if they said he was a CNN contributor.
Yes.
That would have been hilarious.
But the thing is they still like invited him into their studio. Like they didn't have him like Skype in or anything though. Like they brought him in. They gave him a nice mic and nice studio to be in. It's ridiculous still.
Well, I can see why they do too, because it makes the right look bad when you have people like him, and it's it's a Alinsky tactic.
Yeah.
We talked about him earlier. That is one of the tactics in there. I remember reading something about that. Like, you want to go and get the most like bizarre person, then use them, like create them into a spokesperson for whatever you're fighting against.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Personal. Yeah, that's
Pick it's like pick the target, personalize it, and attack it, or something along those lines, and that's what they did.
Yeah, like the people on the right probably do the same thing for some of the real whack job people on the left, although there's so many of them these days.
It's not hard to find them.
Yeah, like you get the the little kid who's like a drag queen at like age 12, stuff like that. And then you get like Ketchup, that person who's like at that Wall Street protest years ago went on the Colbert Report.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of like that person probably single-handedly destroyed the March on Wall Street when they got some guy named Ketchup.
Was it the Occupy Wall Street thing?
Yeah, they got some guy named Ketchup like to go and represent them.
That's funny. To segue into something that's kind of related too, the Groyper thing is continuing on, with these talks. Recently, Ben Shapiro gave a talk at Stanford, I believe, and Ben Shapiro totally changed his whole speech, I think it sounds like, where he just attacked the alt-right, dismantled the alt-right. But when Ben Shapiro does it, he doesn't really do it genuinely or honestly, and you'll see why in a second. He sent out a really stupid tweet about the alt-right because he doesn't know what the alt-right is. And look, is Fuentes alt-right? I would argue he's at least an identitarian, maybe alt-right. I'm not 100%. I really don't know enough about Fuentes to say. I wouldn't side with, I wouldn't have Fuentes as like a figurehead or a spokesperson for like the Trump, America First, pro, America movement. He's too extreme on stuff, especially with the whole identity politics stuff. He goes way over the line with that stuff. But Ben Shapiro took some questions at his event, and I've heard multiple stories in this. Some people say the questions were vetted. Shapiro is saying it's not at all, that none of the questions were vetted. I'd have to look to actually find out because I'm not sure. But regardless, Shapiro then sent out this was in August 2016. Okay, the date on this tweet makes things a bit different. I didn't realize this tweet was sent out 3 years ago.
That's so ridiculous they said that in 2016.
Well, yeah, it's still ridiculous he says in 2016 because it was in 2015 when the term alt-right had the new right was using that term without knowledge of what it actually meant. But August 31st of 2016, so we're basically at September, we're a few months before the election, that's when the term, we knew what it meant by then. But he made a list here. He says, as per your silly request, here are 20 alt-right friendly or alt-right people/outlets. Have at it, Hewitt. And he lists Breitbart News, Ann Coulter, Milo Yiannopoulos, Donald Trump, Pat Buchanan, Ron Paul, Steve Saylor, Mike Cernovich, Alon Bakari, Alex Jones, Jim Goad, Jared Taylor, Richard Spencer, Peter Brimelow, Vox Day, Joseph Sobran, V. Dare, American Resistance, Paul Craig Roberts, John Derbyshire. Now, the big problem right here I'm having is he puts in the same group as Milo, Alex Jones, Ann Coulter, Breitbart, Ron Paul, Donald Trump, he throws in Jared Taylor and Richard Spencer, who are two clearly alt-right crazies. And he kind of, covers himself by saying alt-right friendly or alt-right people/outlets.
Put his old place of work in there.
Yeah, that's true. He used to write at Breitbart. What's he doing?
Was he saying that he's an alt-right person?
No,
as well?
that was his way of sandbagging his old employer, right? That was his way of taking a pop shot.
And he listed them first. That was like the first one.
Well, I guess he doesn't want a job there anymore. Well, probably didn't after.
Oh no, he's.
This was
financially well off. He's financially well off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he goes to colleges. They pay him like a year's salary for like a regular person and for like a single night.
No. It's true. Ben Shapiro asks, from what I've heard, around $55,000 to speak on the campus. That is insane.
Yeah, it's like a year's salary for a good portion of America.
Yeah, honestly,
he really thinks he's worth that. Like
no, he's not. He really isn't. I am not impressed by him at all anymore. He is a neocon, never Trumper. He's wrong about so many things. So many predictions he's made are completely wrong. He thought Trump would never win. He thought Trump would never appoint Supreme Court justices that were conservative. And he's slandered Alex Jones, slandered Gavin McInnes, slandered Milo. I think he called Milo basically a white nationalist. which is insane because I guess now his husband's got to get kicked out of the country. And, he said like Gavin McInnes was a horrible person, but like not as horrible as Milo or something like that, or vice versa. The guy is he's total slimy. And he just smeared Alex Jones when he tweeted out the fake news that Alex Jones had kiddie porn on his InfoWars computers, which turned out to be completely false. Somebody actually planted it, and Alex was looking, to find out who did it. But the article is making it sound like that it was Alex's employees that had it on there, that they watch kiddie porn. So he's just totally fake. This guy is totally, either doesn't do his research or he doesn't care and wants to eliminate his competition this way.
Well, he's just, he's the worst type of person on the right because, we have a hard time enough, like, actually getting stuff done, like fighting the left. We don't need people to be complete, like, punching to the right all the time and, like, just attacking people who aren't attacking him. Like, actual people who do real work, like Alex Jones, like, he's done a lot of real work. Like, he's done independent reporting. He's broken a lot of stories, and a lot of people don't really pay attention to it. And, he's done some stupid things in the past. But, I think the world's a better place with people like Alex Jones, like actually.
Dude, look at Mike Cernovich.
Yeah.
Look at that guy. Look at that guy. That guy. That's the guy who opened up the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. Like, are you kidding me? If it's not for that guy, we're probably not even talking about all the Jeffrey Epstein stuff.
Oh yeah. What was Milo doing about that? What was he doing? What sort of original like?
You mean Ben Shapiro?
Yeah, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
What was he doing?
I know he's done nothing. Like, here's the thing. Think of Ben Shapiro. What has he accomplished for the conservative movement? What has he done?
He's a good debater. He's a good debater, but that's about it. He just like regurgitates like milquetoast conservative viewpoints.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, we do need, and I mean, to be fair, we do need like a strong debater, but like we don't need someone who's constantly just attacking people on the right.
Yeah.
Like that does nothing. That is a negative.
And look at all the journalist work Milo has done. He broke Gamergate, basically. He uncovered some bad actors in the right-wing movement, like legitimately bad actors, like Kaylin Robertson and the his boyfriend film crew helper guy. And then he dropped this leaked audio of Richard Spencer. Like, the guy has done more journalism than a lot of other people on the right. A lot of these are big names. And journalism is actually what helps us. It reveals the truth of certain things. It brings to light some things that nobody else is willing to bring to light. That's the important thing. It's not like the New York Times or the Washington Post where they are kind of lazy. They don't do much investigative reporting anymore, or they'll only do it on certain things. Like Milo's doing on stuff that nobody else is doing, and so is Mike Cernovich and a few other people. So, oh God, Ben Shapiro is he just annoys me so much.
I like how he took that pop shot at Donald Trump too.
Well, this was back in 2016. I'm not surprised.
He was a never Trumper.
Yeah.
He claims he's not anymore, but to be honest, yeah.
I don't trust that. I don't trust anything that guy says. I don't know. I mean, he does good in the fact that, like, there's some things that he does that's all right, but I mean, just in general, he just seems like a terrible person.
Exactly.
Like, he's not, like, I mean, sure, he does, like, that he'll debate people, and, like, he's usually pretty good with those for the most part. But everything else, he just kind of...
I'm reading this article about his speech, and there's one part that's so relatable. It says flyering controversy. That's a weird term to use for this. Some flyers hung in dorms advertising Shapiro's talk were torn down or crumpled. We've never had that before here at Penn State, have we? Especially not for a Sargon event.
What a great idea.
Yeah. Sparking controversy on campus. One incident led to a confrontation at a Latinx-themed dorm, Casa Zapata. Yeah, so...
Oh, they can just have, like, racially segregated dorms over there?
Yeah, it's kind of segregation. That's pretty racist.
Martin Luther King didn't fight for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't Martin Luther King, like, kind of try to end that?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. It's funny, but... I let's just say, if you thought lots of flyers were torn down this semester here, next semester, you're going to see an insane, like, army of, like, angry, leftists just tearing down all these flyers that we're going to put everywhere, because we're going to have to make a huge order of these flyers.
You got to get the DLI to help print some stuff up.
Yeah, we got to talk to a bunch of groups to help us. And I'm thinking we should like laminate them so they can't crumple them, and then just like staple it all, tape it to the, with packaging tape to the billboard, so they will have to work so hard.
We're about to though. And then plus when we table, we got to have like 2 or maybe 3 people at the table, so that way one person's like videotaping.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of hate for this one. And it's somebody that honestly isn't harmful. He isn't, he really isn't as like controversial as people make him out to be. But it'll be fun.
Reading this. Fewer than 20 minutes into Thursday's event, a smoker protesters interrupted the event, chanting, "Hey, hey, ho, ho, Ben Shapiro's got to go." They literally did that exact same chant
at our event
for the past 5 years. Come on, guys, get a new chant. It is so like 2015.
I know they started it with "Hey, hey, ho, ho, Donald Trump has got to go." Then they would just like they would be like, "Hey, hey, ho, ho, insert name of somebody we hate has got to go." They use it for every stupid event. Every stupid chant is that one.
Yeah.
And then I think they also use the so and so racist, sexist, anti-gay. It doesn't matter who it is, but they always fit that criteria,
Well, that'll be funny. Yeah, that'll be funny. I'll just leave that one.
I know what you mean.
Well, if they call Milo anti-gay, then I'd be really confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they called. Yeah.
I don't know, like that whole thing. Like, I think someone had like a Pete Buttigieg, or not Pete Buttigieg. It was the other guy who dropped out.
Oh, Beta.
From Texas.
Beta.
Yeah, like they found like a card and it was like by their organizers, and it had like the list of all these chants that they were supposed to get people to sing. I'm just like, I knew what this was. This had to be controlled opposition. This was not organic in the least.
But here's the stupid thing about that is like, why do they need a card for the chants? Like, it's always the same chants. They like have these memorized.
Yeah, they probably have an app. I wonder if they have an app for that. We need to go like find somebody's like involved these campaigns. Like, see if they have like a campaign chanting app. They'll just like have a list of these things you're supposed to chant.
I'm gonna look that up right now in the App Store. You know what's funny is like after Beta dropped out, since I went to the Beta work event at Penn State last year, I got on their texting list, and they sent me a text after he dropped out saying, "Oh, last call to campaign for Beta or to phone bank or something."
They probably just want some extra money.
I know, and I literally responded with the tweet that Trump set out when Beta dropped out. I forget what Trump specifically said. It was super funny, but that's all I did was just drop the tweet. I didn't say anything else. I don't know if I still have the text thread there, but they didn't reply. I don't think they responded.
Yeah, because they probably got fired. That was part of their last thing. Maybe they could get like an extra bonus or something.
Yeah, that was their last day.
You could get some like dumb people just going to donate to us, even though they know we're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
that's an interesting thing. You can collect like just tons of money doing this.
Oh, and the tweet that Trump sent read, "Oh no, Beto just dropped out of the race for president despite him saying he was, quote, born to do this, unquote. I don't think so." So I just sent that to them, but they didn't even respond back. Oh my God. Oh yeah. I still have the text thread. Yeah, I sent like an image of that tweet. They didn't respond. It said, "Hi, this is Sandra with Beto HQ. Thank you for supporting our campaign. Tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. ET, we invite you to join us for our last call with Beto and the team. Sign up here." Let's see if I go to the sign up. Oh, it's a Zoom hangout. Oh, I missed it. It's on. It was on November 7th. Oh. I should have gone in that. That would have been funny. We could have trolled it.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Oh, I should have done it. Darn.
Like who was Beto even really speaking to? Like, let's be real. Like, who would be like, "Oh, this Beto guy, he's got what it takes to beat Donald Trump." Like, who? Like, what sort of voter would like vote for this guy?
No, there are people like that.
Yeah, like some of the girls thought he was like kind of good looking. I'm like, no. How would you rate him?
He didn't do anything. Like I think he was like a one-term like Congress, like Texas congressperson or something. Like that was the most he did in his life, other than getting arrested for like DUI.
Yeah, almost killing somebody.
Yeah, and he would like brag about like taking people's guns. That was another thing.
Oh, speaking of like looks, I will mention real quickly that in Sam Richards' Social 19 class, we had a Korean day and we talked about K-pop. And he put a picture of like BTS, which is a Korean K-pop band, up on the screen. And it's these sort of like it's like a boy band where they have like their jackets and their cute t-shirts and cute shoes and cute tight jean pants. And the people, some people think these boys are super cute or that they're hot. And Sam went out of his way to say that this is what masculinity is going to look like in the future, and this is what women will be attracted to in the future in America. And I'm sitting there like, no. If you
that's what like little girls, it's like Justin Bieber. Like, back in like when he was like 13 and like all popular. It's like what little like 14-year-old girls like. But no, people don't like that. Like maybe in Korea, because that's
they have different standards of what is sexually attractive in their country.
Yeah, like that does not have a lot of testosterone. Like let's be real here. Like if you go and look at it, like by race, like testosterone, like Asians are on like one side, and
Well, keep in mind it's mostly the status and resources they have. So that's what. To be honest, if these guys are poor and like were nobodies, no one would think they're handsome or masculine or something like that. So
it's funny you mention that. What?
The new masculinity is not masculinity at all. It's just femininity with men.
Yeah. Well, that's what our Chinese friend would talk about, is that he didn't like how his Chinese culture is getting too feminine. And one of the things he mentioned is that they have a problem with sugar mommies, because there are Chinese boys that are good looking. They're good looking, but they're not getting women. They don't have an education, whatever it is. So they're poor and they're hooking up with older females to get money. And which is funny, like a flip role.
We have that problem over here. It's just with the opposite. But I mean,
yeah. And the funny thing too is, Sam then surveyed the class to see how many women found the BTS boys attractive. Out of 700 people, only at most 20 hands went up. I'm gonna do the math on the percentage on that, but that's nothing. I don't know where he's getting this theory from. Like, I like Sam, he's a nice guy, but this is only 1, 2, 3, not even 3% of the class thinks these people are hot and attractive and would date them.
They're not like, teenage girls for the most part. They're mostly adults at that point.
Well,
like when you're like 14.
Well, who are these girls who raise their hands?
It's mostly international students, which makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense too. I mean,
well, okay, if you had to choose between a BTS boy or Jason Momoa, who would you pick?
Obviously.
Who, Jason?
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously. Why? Come on. Why is that? BTS, they're look at them. They're hot. They're hip. They're trendy.
He probably has more money than them. Let's start off with that. Yeah, because
I don't think this is a radio show. I don't think anyone's gonna know what we're talking about because I can't see a picture of these people.
Okay, Jason Momoa was Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones and Aquaman in Aquaman. For those who don't know. Yeah. Oh, DC.
Yeah, DC. Oh, DC, never mind.
Yeah. So Jason Momoa is big, strong. I don't even think he's that good looking personally, but women lose their minds over him. When he takes his shirt off, they freak out. He's just more attractive to them.
More masculine. See, this is why
he's masculine.
To go to the gym.
Well, I'm sorry. It still worked out for me in the end.
Yeah, but still, you should go to the gym. You want to go and get them, get them all worked up like that.
Do I really want that? Would you be fine with that, Tarir?
Why? I wasn't paying attention.
Alex is suggesting I go to the gym and make ladies freak out over me.
Hey, it's up to you, though,
Do you think this would benefit me?
Yeah, it'll benefit you for sure. Like, people will take you a lot more seriously. They do take you seriously, but like they'll take you even more. Okay, no,
Okay.
I'm not trying to throw shade at you. No,
hey, we have a commercial break to go to. No, finish that thought. I'm curious, honestly.
Well, obviously, okay. If you were to compare, like, like the Marine dude we know, not Marine, but see, Marine, Army guy.
Oh yeah, Rob.
Yeah, Rob. Yeah, if
he's
you were to
Chad. He's Chad.
Okay.
I'm just saying, he's Chad.
You're gonna think about him later tonight. So okay, people take him seriously. He doesn't do much so far, like when it comes to leadership positions, but people do take him seriously.
They still respect him.
They really, really respect him though, because like how he's like much taller, much more like he works out.
He's a commanding presence.
Yeah, exactly. And if you worked out, you'd probably have more of a commanding presence, and plus like I think more testosterone maybe.
But
I
think I'm a bit low on that.
No, I'm saying that like when you do work out, you're just gonna be overall more confident, and when you're more confident, it shows.
I agree. Let's talk about the recent elections that happened on Tuesday. So the big states that were up for grabs were Kentucky, Mississippi, and Virginia. Kentucky went blue, Virginia went blue, Mississippi went red.
Uh-oh.
That's a big uh-oh. And some people were all freaking out for Virginia because they're like, oh my God, the demographics are changing. Virginia has turned blue. It was always red. Well, here's the issue with that is that Virginia in presidential elections hasn't gone red since 2004. And that was when Bush was running. And it's since always gone blue, even when Trump ran. So there's also another factor on this, which is it got totally gerrymandered very recently for this election, totally redistrict, and obviously help the Democrats as we see with these results. So I think Republicans need to prop up better candidates, and they need to understand the gerrymandering game. Either ban it or fight back against it. I don't know what. What are your guys' thoughts on the election?
The Republican Party of Virginia is woefully incompetent. Like, they should have been able to like completely destroy the left a bunch of times, like with the whole blackface scandal that came out over there. But they were so just incompetent they couldn't even accomplish that. Like, they need to go and just find everyone who was in charge during that time within Virginia's Republican Party and just fire them and get some like good people in there, because they don't know what they're doing. Like, they're just so terrible. And they're resting on their laurels because, back in the 1800s, we were, conservative or whatever. Like back in, the 40s or 50s, we were pretty Republican. It's like, so is California, buddy. But things have changed. You need to actually like get your stuff together.
Well, yeah.
Be another Maryland.
Here's the thing too, is that it was actually Ralph Northam running in that race too for governor of Virginia. He's the guy that we still can't figure out if he wore blackface or if he wore the KKK outfit. We still don't know.
He probably did both, but you know what? It doesn't matter because the Republicans don't know how to take advantage.
It should have been in every single ad. Ralph Northam is a racist. That's what they could have framed it as. So simple. I mean, you could obviously think of maybe something a bit more sophisticated than that if you want, but even just that would have been more effective than what they did. And
they just need to go and clean house over there. I don't think, they need to go and have someone like from way up, just like I don't care if you bring some carpetbaggers, just someone that will know how to do something.
Yeah.
And, that's going to change your message maybe a little bit because, the demographics probably have changed. But you can still make it work if you're smart.
Exactly. It's about mobilization. That's the two prongs of campaigns are persuasion and mobilization, in my view. You got to persuade people. They're in the center to vote for you. But you also need to mobilize people to come out and vote for you. You can have the best message ever and nobody would vote for you. You need to be able to go on the ground, get boots on the ground, knock on doors, make phone calls, and get people to vote for you. Energize the base. Bring people out that haven't voted in a long time for you. That's what the Trump campaign did. That's what the Brexit campaign did with aggressive social media game, sophisticated social media, targeting. That's what you need to do. And this should be a tell of that.
Trump was pretty close to winning Virginia, too.
He was.
The only thing that really kind of got him in the end was the day before the governor passed a new law at the last minute allowing felons to vote.
Yeah,
that was the only reason why Trump lost there. It was so close. So I mean, it's still possible. It could swing. They got Pennsylvania to swing in that. They were considered a swing state in name only at that time.
Yeah, because I remember when we got into the car to go to the watch party, on election night?
Yeah.
That was the first bit of results we heard on the radio, and I heard I remember so clearly in Baker's car was that Trump was winning Virginia. He was ahead, and that was when I was going like, oh my God, holy crap, we're gonna win this thing. Like, that was the moment that reality set in for me. That shocked me because I thought, wow, we're gonna win this thing now. If Trump's ahead in Virginia, oh my God, he's got to be killing it everywhere, all over the country. And he was. Like, we turned Michigan. Yeah. We turned Pennsylvania. We turned Iowa. We turned, is it Minnesota or Missouri? Yeah, it's Minnesota, I think. We turned so many states for Trump. And it's really, that's the lesson that should be learned, is that you can do it if you have the right guy with the right message and the right campaign. You can do it.
Yeah, well, I think some of it too is it depends where they're getting the, where they're getting kind of the votes first.
Oh, it's Wisconsin, by the way, that I was saying, Wisconsin. But yeah, that's true too. Where they count the votes, can make it look one way or the other.
So that's definitely part of it.
Yeah, and I like with Virginia. I mean, there's DC's growing too, so there's a demographic change as well, with the voter base, but still it's I don't know, you can't the right guy, if you put the right guy in there, that's pretty much people will follow it. I mean, even in politics, a bad plan is better than no plan at all.
That's true.
And it seems like a lot of these, especially the old school Republicans too, are really aren't very good at running with a plan.
No, they're failures. And if you look at Pennsylvania, what was a big reason for Hillary's loss? Trump mobilized the blue collar working class vote. Hillary did not mobilize any of the black vote, any of the city vote. A lot of them stayed home, and that's a big reason for why she lost. You look at Virginia here. Hillary got 49.7% of the vote. Trump got 44.4% of the vote. So he was about 5% away. That's not bad for a Republican in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And we could have grown from that, but like Alex just said, why? How could they not take out Northam? How? It's they handed them a gift. He's got blackface or a Klan outfit in his closet. I mean, this is a total win, but no, couldn't do it. Pretty sad. Because then I remember when I was at the CR meeting, they brought up the whole blackface thing with Trudeau. I mean, they brought it up months later. And they said, oh, should we, use this against them? Should we, say that they shouldn't hold Oscars? I'm like, yeah, this is what they're doing to us. You're not going to beat them by just letting them go. You need to, as Zelensky said, hold your opponents to their standards. Their standard is, these people should be canceled. Cancel them. Get them out.
And that's the thing. That's what separated Trump from, the traditional Republicans. Why that's what we need to go and do. People on the right, if they want to actually win, is they need to go and start using these tactics, because the left have been using them for years.
And they've been winning for years.
Yeah, with the new right, the sort of Trump, the Trumpism, whatever. That's what they've been doing on the right, and it works, but it scares the traditional, your old-fashioned, neocons and whatnot, because they're afraid of that. They want to be, no punches below the belt, but when everyone else is doing it, you got to do it. If everyone else is, cheating, sometimes you got to do the same thing if you want to be competitive. You want to go and lose all the time and just, fail to conserve anything because you can't win elections, and go ahead, lose. But, the right, they're starting now to actually develop their own tactics, not even just that, using their own tactics against them, but look at what Veritas has been doing. You seen the latest one?
Oh yeah, we should talk about that. The Epstein Veritas tapes. For anybody that doesn't know, Project Veritas got a hot mic in an ABC studio of a on-air reporter saying that they had all this info on Epstein. They had a lot of it. and the network spiked the story, which means they said at last minute, they said, nope, we're not airing it. And then she said that she doesn't believe for a second, basically, that Epstein killed himself. She thinks somebody took him out because he made his money off of blackmailing people, lots of rich and powerful people.
Yeah, like that's the stuff that we need from the right. We need to go and use that against the left, because who by and large were the most people taking advantage of Epstein? It was people on the left, people like Bill Clinton. Even internationally, you had the royal family, abusing children on the Epstein Island. You had lots of big leftists, and Jeffrey Epstein is a big donor to the Democrat Party. Same thing with Harvey Weinstein. Why isn't the Republican Party really taking advantage of that information? They're kind of just sitting on their hands for the most part. Yeah. But the ones who win, they will use that to their advantage. They'll go and use this information to go and strike.
Well, all I'm going to say is that Hillary Clinton didn't win the 2016 election, just like Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
This has becoming a meme.
That's funny too. Look how that meme just kind of, memes, that meme magic, it's back. I haven't seen it really since the 2016 election, but it literally brought back this Epstein thing.
No, the Epstein didn't kill himself meme is the new version of the Bill Clinton is a rapist meme.
Yeah, it's literally the people revolting against the establishment who just buried the story. I wish they'd go and do that more with the the Las Vegas shooter, because I think that whole thing was kind of buried real quick.
Yeah,
they never really explained that one properly, and I think that deserves another look at it, because I'm sure that they probably had some really interesting stuff that got buried at CNN, Fox, at NBC. I bet they're all probably complicit with it. The only people who would actually go on something would either be WikiLeaks or Versa, or not Versa.
All those big news companies are complicit and kind of I don't want to say working together, but they're kind of rubbing elbows with each other. Look at what happened with the CBS fired the one person that they thought that had access to the ABC network's film of the video that was on Project Veritas.
Yeah,
CBS did that. That person no longer worked for ABC. They didn't hesitate to boot her out.
And James O'Keefe is another example we were talking about earlier. Somebody on the right who's doing proper journalism and properly good work. The guy has uncovered some major stories, major dirt, stuff that you wouldn't hear about if he didn't do it, because nobody else is doing what he does, which is undercover reporting, investigative reporting. Nobody's doing it at the level he does it at. And he's broken some really good stuff. This one's a really fascinating, and you could tell that ABC reporter was just so, I don't want to say perplexed, but she was just sort of yeah, this doesn't surprise me, and it's kind of disappointed maybe. Disappointed that she couldn't have broken this sooner, helped these people, expose Jeffrey Epstein for the sicko he was. If you think about what this guy's doing, it's one of the darkest, sickest, biggest pedophile rings ever. He has this island where he's flying girls in and out, young girls, to be, raped by rich and powerful people. Or to have orgies with rich and powerful people. It's one of the most screwed up things ever. And it's been going on for so long. People knew about it. So many people knew about it, but did nothing.
Oh, yeah, they want to go and blame Penn State for the Jerry Sandusky thing. But, in which they should, but on the sort of grand scale, this whole Epstein Island's the Jerry Sandusky times 1,000, where you had, not only were they trafficking in sex all these kids, they were also what do you think why do you think Epstein was doing this? So he could get blackmail on people. They want to say that Trump had the prostitutes and the PP gate. Yeah, they're so hypocritical, because they've been doing the exact same thing they're accusing Trump of, but with children and Democrats all over. Bill Clinton, he was a big frequenter of them. Among many other people.
Flyer.
I'm sure there's plenty of other like bigwig Democrats who are traveling to this island over there, getting blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein to go and get funding.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe since Jeffrey Epstein, killed himself, maybe someone will start leaking some of that good information out so he can figure out who these pedophile politicians are and start doing something about it.
Well, and he basically had a dead man's trigger on his computers at the island. Because I think when a drone flew by recently, like before he died, they noticed like all the computer hardware was missing. So somebody went in, cleaned house. Because I don't know, it could be one of Epstein's people that was trying to cover him, or it could be somebody that was, blackmailed or had, Epstein had dirt on them, and he went in and cleaned it up because he was afraid what could come out on him. And of course, it was before the FBI raided the place. I don't get why the FBI didn't raid that place immediately, because there's so much valuable information that's now probably gone. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see like a WikiLeaks dump or an Alex Jones maybe even dump of some of this stuff. You could see somebody dump some juicy stuff probably in the coming months or years.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned WikiLeaks because it's funny. Like this Epstein stuff happened like right around the time that Julian Assange is that happened. So that's real interesting. I wonder if this was, there's a reason for this.
Could be.
It just so happened to be at this time.
Speaking of elections, there are also talks that Michael Bloomberg is going to be entering the race, the 2020 presidential race to be specific, because many people have seen in Alabama that he's gathering some signatures to qualify to get on the ballot of multiple states, all the states for that matter, pretty much. So I'm going to say, as a real news prediction right here, Sean, real news prediction that Michael Bloomberg will enter the race. And I think he might be their nominee. And the reason I say that is because I think the DNC won't come out to be their nominee. They bet their money on her the whole time. The donors, the media all bet on her. Her campaign totally failed. It's now shutting down. Even I predicted she'd be the nominee, and I was totally wrong. I still think their nominee needs to be a woman, but now might be their VP. I think Elizabeth Warren doesn't have enough to be the presidential nominee, and she's probably going to be their VP candidate. I think Bloomberg, I think the DNC was shopping around for a new candidate because they were panicking. It's like, we don't have a nominee. What are we going to do? We don't have anybody. We don't want Biden. We want to get rid of him. We need somebody else. So I think they shopped around. They talked to Bloomberg and they said, hey, we'll make it happen for you. And he's like, all right. I think it might be him.
I don't think it'll end very well because you can't do that. So they had, like, if you're going to join, like, you should at least join at the beginning, like, during the debates. 'Cause that's almost not fair for the rest of the people. Like, why even have the debates if you're not going to, choose someone from one of them? Like,
that's true.
Is that even, like, allowed? Can you even do that?
I guess it is. I guess so. I mean, I thought the same thing, too, which is, like, why would you enter now? It's kind of, isn't it past the deadline? But I guess not. I don't know when the deadline is, like, to get on the ballot in all these states, but I don't know, man.
Well, it's the DNC. They don't care about rules. They'll just make whatever rules seem good. You saw what happened to Bernie last time, where he just kind of got really hit over the head with those super delegates. I mean, they're so corrupt. Like, what's even the point of even having debates and whatnot and all these rules? Like, if they do that, I have a feeling you're going to have someone just, flip out. I don't know if it'll be Yang. I don't know if it'll be Tulsi Gabbard.
Probably be Bernie. It'd probably be Bernie that would freak out.
I don't think he will. I think he got something happened to him last time.
He's not going to win. There's no way. The DNC won't allow it. And AOC has already kind of said that Bloomberg is, quote, trying to purchase our political system, unquote, which is aligned the message that Bernie would send too. So I think Bloomberg is going to enter the race. I never thought he would, because he always talks about it but never does it. I don't think, I always thought he'd be the type of guy to be more behind the scenes, but I think he's going to do it for real this time. Because if he's trying to get signatures, he's definitely seriously going to enter the race.
I mean, if he does that, you thought that it was bad last year with, the Bernie bros and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
if he does that, this is going to be ridiculous. Like, people will freak out because, and rightfully so, because that's, they're basically bypassing their Democrat process.
Mm-hmm.
They're completely bypassing him just because he's got a lot of money. And he probably would, like, honestly, if he would have done at the beginning, he probably would have been a pretty good candidate. But the whole point of it is to kind of go and, like, you want to go, like, get the most, like, forge them through fire, see if they can put up with the primaries. What's even the point of primaries if you can just bypass it like this, Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what's odd is, like I said, the DNC had always been framing the Democratic Party as the party of women, and it seems like they just want to run a man. I mean, that's not in line with the message they're trying to push or the image they're trying to give of their party. And I think it's, couldn't they have gotten somebody else? That's what surprises me.
Well, I think all the people they chose just end up being pretty terrible candidates. To be honest. I don't think they were expecting them to all kind of be that terrible. Like, Biden or Kamala, they probably seem like they would have been good, but they were terrible. And other people, like, I'm surprised because, like, out of all of them, I think, like, Tulsi Gabbard probably would have been the most likely to win out of all of them, like the most moderate.
I don't think she could have even come close to winning.
I think, well, not the primary, but I think if she went against Trump like that, like, she would have appealed to more people than, some of the other candidates.
I will say, it's interesting. Donald Trump Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard were on The View recently. By the way, Jr., I honestly don't think he did that great. I think he had some weak moments, but he did have a great moment in the end when he called out Joy Behar for doing blackface. And, all her co-panelists were all like, oh, no, she totally didn't. And there were pictures of her doing it. Her darkening her skin, as they would put it.
What's up with Democrats and blackface?
It's so bizarre.
It is just so crazy. Like, honestly, they'd be like, if they weren't the ones who cared so much about it, like, no one probably cared, but they're the ones who are the first to speak out about it, but they're the ones who do it more. I've seen more Democrats and left-wing liberal people in blackface than I've seen Republicans, like, 10-1.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's projection, I get. It's just projection.
Yeah.
Your psychology terms.
No.
I mean, kind of is, but
kinda.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it is projection in many ways. And also, it's funny how Tulsi Gabbard was willing to call him out on the show because they called her like a Russian asset and a bunch of other things. And she pushed back, but I look at those clips of her and I'm like, she is in the wrong party. She's a vet. She's a, more anti-war. She's got a lot, like, she checks some key boxes that eliminate her from being a Democrat. Like, the only reason she's a Democrat is because she's in Hawaii, and that's all she would have. She has to run as one to get anything there. But she's far left on Medicare for all. She's far left on UBI, a bunch of other policies. She needs to drop that crap because it's the, she could genuinely be a great Republican candidate because she's good looking. She's, got some military experience that Republican voters always like. And she could, flesh out her, her candidacy better if she had more right-wing policies. But she's also got those bad pictures with some Occupy Wall Street and Antifa people that they're a bit, they're pretty bad. So I don't know.
Democrat, that's fine because that they're fine with Antifa.
Yeah.
That's their armed resistance. Their anti-Trump movement.
And speaking of,
I think like she would have probably had the best chance out of all of them if it were to go into like the general election. But for primaries, she wasn't radical enough. And that's like when I had a political science class when I was in high school, and like they were talking about that. Like primaries is like where they try to get the most they end up getting like the most radical people out there, but then they have to go like way tuned down to go into the general.
Yeah. Well, that's what they always say is like you got to run hard to your base in the primaries and then moderate in the general. And Trump didn't really do that a lot. which is interesting because he was always moderate in some ways, but he did tone down some of the immigration stuff, tone down the some of his other stances a bit, but his core stuff stayed the same, like building a wall, bringing jobs back, pulling us out of these stupid wars. That stuff remained the same, but there were little changes like, well, it's not a Muslim ban anymore. We're just going to limit. We're going to do a temporary travel ban. There was a few areas where he did change. Like even with immigration, he said, well, we're not going to deport everyone. We're just going to, get out the criminals first. But he still kind of kept the core of his campaign together. And I think he did the best. And at the same time, speaking of Trump associates, Roger Stone is now on trial. We've gone to like about 4 days of his trial. We've done trial for lying to Congress and witness tampering. And Steve Bannon testified that Roger Stone implied that he had an indirect link from the Trump campaign to WikiLeaks. And on the first day of the trial, like Milo Yiannopoulos and Gavin McGinnis were there to support him, and they sat in on the trial too. And Stone had food poisoning, so he had to leave like real quickly into the trial. He had to leave because he was looking really sick. And a man, like right before that happened, somebody collapsed like in his trial. Like it's really weird what's happening. But Roger really is getting tied up in this.
Yeah, that's sad. Like, he's a really interesting guy over there, and like, I don't know why Bannon's doing all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't get Bannon sometimes because he can be really smart and on the money on some stuff, but at the same time, he pushed for Roy Moore. He called Donald Trump Jr. a traitor for the Trump Tower meeting, where he met with that person that turned out to be like a total fake, about the Russia stuff, and then he does this, and I'm like, I don't get Steve sometimes. Uncle Steve can be great at times, but then he can be disappointing at other times.
Yeah, I think he's a human. They have their ups and they have their downs. I don't know what's going on in his head. Now, see, that'd be someone I'd really love to get on this show, but I don't know if we'd be able to do that.
Yo, if we got Uncle Steve on here, it'd be fun.
But he seems like a really smart guy, but he does some of this stuff, and it makes you wonder, like, what really happened over inside the Trump. And it really makes you wonder.
Yeah, because Steve, after the Don Jr. thing, he left Breitbart. He was in the White House for a bit, and then he had to leave. I don't know. I think he is a smart guy, but there's something else about him that for some reason just. He winds up in trouble for stuff that will piss off the people he shouldn't be pissing off. That's the issue. But we'll follow that. Not much has really happened yet, but I have a feeling Roger's going to get hit. I don't know how hard or with what charges or what sentencings, if any. But he's not coming out of that scotch-free. He's going to get hit because it's in D.C. Obama appointed judge, I believe. It's not looking good for him. I hate to say it.
Well, if Trump was smart, he'd give him a pardon.
I hope Trump does. He might, but I think that's something, unfortunately, he might have to wait on. Like, I don't know if he could do it. I don't know when would be the best time to do it, if you know what I mean.
I think if he gets a second term, that'd probably be the best
time to do it.
Best time. Like, he'll get, give a bunch of people pardons who were, thrown into this witch hunt.
And I think he would, actually, because Roger helped his campaign. They talked on the phone a few times. I think Trump would pardon him. I think so. It's, I just don't know when. That, to me, is the question.
Yeah, like, the people that help you, you have to, you ought to go and, help them back. Like, he may have done some stupid things. And that's the whole thing with this, witch hunt. I feel like a lot of it was just, people doing stupid things like that. Like, they're tripping people up into lying. Mm-hmm. I think that's, mostly what this whole, Russiagate thing was. There's an excuse by the Democrats to throw, procedural things in place and get people, caught up. That's why, you should never testify, if you can help it, for things like this if you're in politics. Because they'll find ways and they'll get lawyers going to look over every single bingle thing that you said. And unless you're like Bill Clinton, you can't really get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, they were trying to do that to Alex Jones during his trial or his custody battle, over the Sandy Hook stuff. It was we watched the video. Viva Frey did an analysis of Phil and I. We watched it, and the way that the prosecution would just go after Alex was insane. They would say some crazy stuff. Like when you think it makes Alex Jones look like the least crazy guy in the room, you know? And
they were absolutely terrible. Like just they were trying to get him to go and like basically like, oh, are you a monster, Alex Jones? You meant this is saying a monster would say. It was just like, what are you doing?
And see, what I do respect about guys like Alex, you know, is even if they're wrong on stuff or, you know, out there on some things, I think Alex is authentic because what he's said, what he's done is stuff that would kill anybody's career. He puts real skin in the game and he stands by it. I mean, he hypes himself up on air and, you know, elevates his character, I guess you could say. But other than that, like, he's still the same guy. Like, it's like Milo. You know, he may be a bit more provocative in his speeches, make some harder, edgier jokes. But, you know, we talked to him on air here and he's the real deal. He's who he is, and that's why I like the guys that are authentic, like Gavin, Milo, Tommy Robinson, Alex Jones. Those people to me are like the more. Those are the people we should be keeping, you know, in our movement, not casting them aside or canceling them. Because it was funny. Milo and Gavin were having lunch in D.C. You know, during a break of the trial, and some woman like tweet out a picture of them, and she's like, oh my god, like, here are these bigots, here are these Nazis, whatever she said. And then she took her water and poured it on them, and you know, they're laughing about it. And then Milo posts a image on his Telegram. The woman that dumped the water on them left her receipt there. She left her bill, so they had her name. So they said that right to the cops, and Milo said something like, oh, hi, Liz. You know, so funny. I'm like, God, these people aren't thinking. But, yeah.
Some nutty people out there that just think they can, you know, attack people because they disagree with their beliefs.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Is there any... I have some other topics on here, because there's only like one other real topic, and then we should do a political compass test, I think, after the break. Was there anything else you want to talk about?
I saw Taxi Driver the other day.
What was that?
I saw the movie Taxi Driver the other day.
Oh, yes, because that is basically the OG Joker movie. What was that like?
It was... I don't know how much you could really compare it to Joker. I mean, there's some definite similarities in there, but, like... I don't know, like, what was that book you were telling me about with the dude with the prostitute who, like, paid him to talk?
Oh, that's Catcher in the Rye. I hate that book.
It almost seemed a little bit like that. Like, I haven't even read that book, but from your, like, analysis of it, it kind of made me think of that. But it's like some, like, dude who's a taxi driver. Like, it was such a bizarre film. And it wasn't, like, there wasn't as much of the mental illness aspect of it as Joker, but there was definitely, like, it was definitely an interesting film, especially, like, the one part. Like, this dude's just bizarre, but he's not, like, Joker where he's, like, insanely mentally ill. He's just, like, a bit weird. Like, I don't know if he had like autism or something, like back in the 70s when this was made, but he was just a strange one. And like, there's the gun scene that did kind of remind me of Joker.
Yeah.
Like,
no. There's the gun scene where I think it's like where he's watching TV is the exact same thing, pretty much from what I've heard.
It was similar. It was very similar in like the part where like someone tells him like, oh, hey, you should get 38, blah blah blah. Like, that was exactly like it, but it was similar, but it was interesting. Like, it kind of reminded me of Catcher in the Rye a little bit. And then there's like some politician in there that was kind of similar, I guess. But yeah, it was kind of funny in like a dark humor sort of way. Like, I definitely recommend watching it if you got Netflix. I think it's on there.
Yeah, it is. I plan on watching it at some point because I haven't seen it. Did you have a topic, Toyo, you said?
Oh, it was just like talking about the Alex Jones and the Milo were having dinner. So I just...
You mean
like,
Gavin?
Gavin, yeah. No, I've zoned out. But yeah, I just think like when people get really, really riled up and angry, obviously they don't really like think too much. Like the woman that left her receipt and name there, you know, think better next time. But I guess just emotions just clouded your judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, people are getting way too emotional. I mean, politics is naturally emotional, but people get way too emotional about it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so...
And that's a lesson. I mean, there's a lesson behind that, too. You know, don't get, like... like if you're trying to succeed in the political spectrum or really succeed in anything, don't let your emotions get the better of you. You know, try to stay as grounded as you can and let everybody else around you get emotional. And then, you know, the more control you have, the better decisions you make. And it's just, you know, that's something you have to do. Kind of like what we did.
Yeah. Well, and the way I look at it is emotions are a tool. You can't let them cloud your judgment, but you need to develop your political philosophies, your opinions, your view of the world with as clear of a mind as possible, as rational of a mind as possible. But when you're selling that message, when you're trying to get people behind your cause, that's when you need to crank up the emotions and use it to your advantage to really make your message powerful, to, you know, give people something interesting to look at. And I did find that post on Telegram that Milo made with the receipt, and I probably find this funnier than most people, but it just me was funny how he worded it, because he posted a picture of the receipt, and he goes, "They left their check behind. Whoops. Hi, Liz." So, you know, it's just so funny that, you know, like it's of all the times like to do that, they do it in that case. So it's hilarious. And yeah, also Dan Crenshaw was getting groipered. That's gonna be my word for this whole thing with the people asking these certain questions at these Turning Point Late events. He had a kind of like a Steven Crowder, like Change My Mind ripoff, where it said "Prove me wrong." He had like a sign, and he was outside, and they set up a line. Like they set up 2 lines for questions, and one guy asked a question about Israel, I forget what, and Crenshaw just kind of dodged the question, and then started just saying, "Oh, you one of those guys? Oh, you're not conservative." Like, look, you can call them out on that stuff, but you need to answer their question quickly and briskly and swiftly, and then move on to the offensive. And he just didn't do a good job at that. I'm sorry. Like, I like Crenshaw, but he just we were watching that clip before we came here, and it just they're not handling these people well.
So is he saying basically that you have to be pro-Israel to be conservative?
Let me find that clip, actually, because I can play it on here.
That just doesn't make any sense. Like, how can you be America first if you're, put another country before yourself?
Well, I know that's the issue. That's really the problem. Like
honestly, like that's the thing I disagree with a lot of, the milquetoast like Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, look,
honestly, America should be first. Every other country.
Yeah, I agree.
You can have a little line. Like, if you want to go and help Israel, sure, whatever. But that shouldn't be a conservative value. It's not America first.
I'm just gonna play the whole thing right now.
By the Israeli Defense Force, which resulted in over 200 casualties on June 8th, 1967. All 3 testify to it being an intentional attack by Israel. My question is, how could you associate with TPUSA when its leader Charlie Kirk called this event
sure they can actually hear that?
Wherein your Navy brothers were killed in this event? All right, what do you guys call yourselves?
We don't.
No. There's a name for your group, right?
America first.
No, what did you say? Groppers?
It's pronounced Patriots.
No, what's the name of it?
Patriots.
No, you're not conservatives. You're not. You think you are.
Why not? That's the pot calling the kettle black. Being opposed to sodomy and pro-Christ.
Here it comes. Bring it out, guys. Let everybody know who you are.
Hey, what's up with the line?
That's what we're here for.
Wait, what's with the second line? America first. America first. America first.
So for those of you who are new to this and you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on here, you've got a bunch of guys.
We're asking questions.
And they're all guys. They got one girl. That's good.
You said we could ask you any question.
Yeah, and I've already answered that one to the rest of you. What do you guys call it? The Groppers? It's a very strange name. It's a very strange name. And so these guys are the kind of the alt-right 2.0. And they're deeply anti-Semitic. They only care about a couple issues that have to do with Israel.
Answer the question.
They'll ask questions about the USS Liberty. They'll ask questions like that. They'll ask questions about
You're dodging.
why we give aid to.
Answer the question. Filibuster. Prove me wrong.
What they'll try to do is they'll frame these questions in sort of in a way that seems reasonable, right? It's reasonable to ask about history in the USS Liberty, sure. And then I would tell you that there was about 6 government official investigations into that incident, and it was deemed that it was an accident. Okay, so that's the answer to your question. But why do you think they're...
Okay, so I just finished on our end. As you can see, he doesn't answer that. I'm sorry, he doesn't handle the question well.
No, he doesn't.
Because you're giving them what they want, which is you dodging the question. You can't do that.
And the worst part is he had a question like that asked at him in a previous event.
Yes.
Like you have, like, you know that this is probably going to be asked again. So now you have time to, like, you know, think of a response or whatever. I don't know what's going on there, and I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on there because it's like I mean, you know, Dan Crenshaw, he's a bright guy. He's I'm just
I really don't care for.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, I'm saying the guy has intelligence. He has, you know, speaking ability, and he can debate. It's just like. It was almost like it's either you were ignorant on the subject or if it was a willful ignorance on the subject, and it's not hard. I mean, look, I get that, you know, that the Israel, like the Israel thing can be kind of a pain in the butt to kind of try to answer or whatever, especially, but it's, if you don't answer it the first time or you try to dodge it, it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
Like, and you got to answer it. You know, like eventually you got to answer it.
Well, and look, as you've seen, Phil, I've had to deal with some of these alt-right people that press me on this stuff because I'm the Turning Point president here, and I answer their questions honestly. And then if they keep, you know, asking it after I give an answer, I just tell them, "I've given you an answer. Stop, mind reading me." Because they'll start coming up with all kinds of silly stuff. Like they've called me a sellout. They've called me a fake conservative. They call me all kinds of totally false names, and I'm happy to debate them and talk to them. I'm fine with it, and I'll answer questions. Like one guy kept pressing me on the BDS movement. Look, I don't even know what the BDS movement is. I know it's like some pro-Palestine thing, but that's it. I don't know what they really stand for, what they do. I think they boycott or something. Like, I really don't know.
Boycott, divest, sanction.
I think it's just obsession at this point. Like
they have a weird
obsession.
Israel fetish.
Yeah.
Like there's the conservatives that have a weird Israel fetish where they just talk about how much they love Israel. Then you have these alt-righters that have an anti-Israel fetish where they just keep talking about how much they hate Israel. And I'm like, guys,
let's be fair. Like, why are we doing this constant thing with Israel? Like, why is that such a big political thing today? Why do conservatives like?
And that's the thing, and that's a fair question.
No, I know, I agree. Yeah,
like, yeah, and it's not like, okay, so if you want to answer it, like, well, I mean, there's a number of ways I'm assuming you could answer it, but like, what, like, pick one.
Yeah.
Like, don't dodge a question.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're like, if you want to answer it like, oh, well, we do a lot of trade with them. There's like military strategy, there's shipping strategy, whatever. Yeah. There's ports that make it Middle East friendly or something like that. You could try to do that, or if it's like, Israel's the holy. Like, I don't.
You could make legitimate arguments.
I don't like that one.
I don't either. And this is why I tell people is that I don't care a lot about this issue about Israel-Palestine because I'm more worried about stuff happening here. Yes, does this affect us? Yes, but look, I don't like Israel and I don't really like Palestine either. So I'm kind of confused on the issue. I don't know which side I should really support, but I don't think we should be giving Israel that much money. But at the same time, I understand that foreign aid is a leverage thing. It's a strategic thing. You can use that to your advantage, and it's a bit more complicated than just giving them money. And I tell these alt-right people, I'm like, look, I'm not even supporting Israel. I'm not even supporting Palestine. I don't even support BDS because you want to know why? With BDS, I don't know enough about it to have an opinion. And the adult thing to do when you don't know enough about something is to not shoot your mouth about it. If you're ignorant, shut up. If you know what you're talking about, talk about it. But if I know nothing about economics, I'm not going to go like, oh, I know what all these things mean and I can predict, economic trends. I'm not an economist, so I'm not going to start, shoot my mouth on it. I mean, maybe I'll give a prediction or a guess, but I'm not going to act like an expert. I'm not going to take a hard stance. I don't think what I'm doing at all is any, it should be what more people are doing, I think. I don't think what I'm doing is wrong at all.
Okay, well, basically, if you look at the majority of our members in Turning Point, no one gives a poop.
Perfect.
Yeah, no one gives a poop about the whole Israel BDS.
Nobody really cares.
Yeah, no one cares.
I mean, really, if I was to say anything, it would probably be our relationship with Israel probably has something to do with military technology. It's probably what it is, because we have a lot. We fund their stuff like the Iron Dome, David Sling, a lot of their anti-ballistic stuff, and we do get a lot of like military intelligence from those anti-ballistic stuff, and and it helps develop stuff, because all of Israel's anti-ballistic stuff is coming from U.S. companies like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, like that, and I'm like, and that's fine, but like, I don't. Just give me an answer.
Yeah.
Just give me an answer.
I know. And I've told these alt-right people, I'm like, hey, come up to us after a Turning Point meeting or even during one, just talk to me about it. Like, I'm willing to talk about it. It's just, I'm not going to talk about something I don't know a lot about or care a lot about. It's like marijuana. I don't know a lot about it. I don't care much about it.
It's like, yeah, one of them told me, oh, you got to read this book. It's called The Israel Lobby.
To be fair, there is a lot of lobbying if you go and look at Congress.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah, but there's a lot of lobbying all around the world. Like, I know, every country has a lobby. I mean, that's not really...
APAC doesn't have to go through the same hoops that other foreign countries, like aid to foreign countries, do. That's one of the things.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other long-standing... Like, we've been their ally probably longer than anybody. Like, there's a whole lot of... Like, out of all the countries in the world, I think that's like the one country we've probably been allies with the longest. I maybe even longer than England.
I mean, we were allied with like England and stuff since like World War One. Israel didn't even exist at that point.
I mean, yeah, but we haven't been like all great with England. Like, well, we have. I mean, it's been very. It's a rocky, like the relationship with England is a rocky one. It's not.
Yeah, we've been pretty good with them since like the War of 1812. Like, that was the last time we really had any major problems with them.
Well, I mean, from from a trade standpoint, from like there's a number of ways to look at it, but like, but yeah.
All right, so now we're going to do the political compass test. If you go to politicalcompasstest.org, you can do it too. Find out where you align. I'm not the biggest fan of this test, but everybody kind of does it, so we're going to see where we align. I've done it twice. This will be my third time. I think this is Tavir's first time. Alex, you've done it a couple times. Phil, have you done this one before?
I have not.
Okay, so it's the first time for two of us. So we're going to see where we align. So first question. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. I'm going to say agree. I'm not hard on that one.
Yeah, I like that answer.
I'm disagreeing with that.
Ooh.
You think so?
No. I don't know.
I'd always.
I mean, but that's not honestly, that's not a clear question.
That's the problem with this test.
What do you mean by humanity, and what do you mean by transnational corporations? Like, exactly, because you break those terms. You could break those terms down so well. Like,
I will say that is the biggest problem with this test is it's too general, and there's so many specific cases where I would disagree. So for
Yeah.
this one, I might even strategically say disagree for it to be more accurate.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say disagree. All right.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the second question, I always support my country whether it's right or wrong. I do strongly disagree on that.
Well, again, it depends on.
Well, I'll say disagree.
Again,
Depends.
it depends. Right. So where are you at in your life, right? If you're just a normal civilian, then yeah. But if you're in the military, or if you're in the military, heck yeah, you're gonna back up your country, right or wrong. Like, but then again, you swear to protect,
Yeah, it's a hard one. And you the thing is, like, you can say it for like all these questions is like it depends.
Because like I'm a military, I was in the military for a while. That
Next question is, no one chooses his or her country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it.
Disagree.
I strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree. Yeah.
Are we all gonna go for the same answers?
No, you don't have to.
Because if this happens.
No, we're picking our own answers, but if we do,
No, I know, but like this might lead up to like picking our own answers. Because one opinion might be influenced by another opinion. So in the end, we're not saying we're
biasing each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll have interesting results.
Oh well.
Our race has our race. One of us. Okay, we all have. This is gonna be a different one. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races.
Everyone is stupid.
This is one of those questions that's entirely like. Okay, one, what race do they mean? Are they specifically saying like white people, or are they saying like just enter your own
your own race? I think is what it means.
What do they mean by superior qualities? Does that mean that everyone else has inferior qualities? Like
that's what it implies. Yeah, there's a hierarchy. So I'd say strongly disagree.
Asians are smarter.
That's racist.
If I strongly disagree, does that mean that other races superior?
That's true. There's so many ways to look at that question, honestly. It's not as clear as it seems. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'd say agree, because in some cases it can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Agree.
Yeah, I strongly agree with that. I think a lot of these international laws that they have, like, it does not happen in the real world, or it shouldn't happen in the real world. Like, do you think people are really going to care? Like, you think Al Qaeda or whatever, like ISIS, is going to care about international laws when they go and like?
Exactly.
Yeah. And most of the time, when you're talking about like the Geneva Conventions, we're probably the only country that actively follows it to the letter anyway.
Oh yeah.
I think Europe does, but they never declare war on anyone, so it doesn't really matter anyways.
Next question. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. I'd say agree.
I disagree with that. I think it's actually interesting. Like, the more fusion of information and entertainment, like, that's actually good things. People actually learn stuff.
Ooh, I'm gonna say agree. I do know where you're coming from on that. That's a valid point.
It's good to have differences.
People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. I tend to agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
If you're like super rich, they're probably going to be more like than people, who are poor within their same country.
Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Oh, see, I think they're both important.
Well, yeah, like, what do you mean? Like, I don't think we should really be controlling unemployment at all. Like that, like how can you really do that? Just hire more people for the government and just let things be free.
I'm gonna say disagree. I don't know on that one.
They should give you a neutral option, I think.
The 8 values one sometimes is a little better because it gives you that option.
Nuance.
Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. I'd say strongly agree, personally.
I'm disagreeing with that.
Some. I'd agree some. Not strongly, but yeah, definitely some.
It's my authoritarian side coming out. From each according to his ability to each according to their need is a fundamentally good idea. Now, that is a Marx quote, for the record. As a Karl Marx quote, I'm going to disagree. I forget exactly what it means. I think it has to do with like redistribution of wealth.
Yeah, so like basically from each according to his ability, like, so I don't know. Yeah, it's basically give people who need more, even though, like, I don't know. It's
I'll say strongly disagree. Yeah, it's communism. It's a sad reflection of our society that something as basic as drinking water is now bottled, branded consumer product. No, I disagree.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. Like, it's helped people before. Like, if you ever had, a boil water advisory, no one wants to deal with that. Just buy a bottle of water.
Yeah. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. Whoa, strongly disagree. Because that implies it's owned by the government or it's...
Abolish private property.
Yeah, pretty much. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society.
I disagree with that because, people make money off of, like, they'll be like sports players, and, at least people manipulate money do more than people, like, you want to talk about the grand scheme of things. Like, there's tons of jobs out there, like, manipulating money isn't that bad when you start looking at some of these other ones, like, get your, like, Snapchat models, like the premium Snapchatters out there.
Yeah. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I totally agree. That's like Trump's tariffs, fighting back against China. Totally agree. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. I wouldn't say it's the only responsibility, but that's kind of the point of a company.
Yeah, like, what else do they want them to do?
I'm going to... Ooh, that's a hard one. Because I wouldn't say it's their only social responsibility, so I'm going to say... Oh, God. I'm going to say disagree. I don't like that question, but I'm going to say disagree.
I'm already hating this thing.
I know, it's terrible.
I strongly agree with that one. Let's keep going.
The rich are too highly taxed. Strongly agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Strongly agree.
Yep.
Government
should penalize businesses that mislead the public.
Oh, I agree with that. 100%.
I agree.
If you flat out lie to people, absolutely, that's violation.
Yeah.
A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predatory multinationals to create monopolies. Strongly agree. The freer the market, the freer the people.
Agree.
Strongly agree.
Yeah, strongly with that.
We're halfway through, boys. Almost halfway through, I should say. Abortion, when a woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal.
Mandatory abortions, please.
State-enforced abortions.
Loki wanna die.
Yes. No, that's messed up.
I'm going to say agree. I hate that question.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that either because there's of course there's like I don't know. I feel like there's exceptions, but those exceptions are a very, very small slice, Like, no, you just need discipline. You need discipline.
Yeah. You need a $2 condom. All authorities should be questioned. Strongly agree.
I agree to some extent. I mean, there's at some point I think there's some
trust, but I always question it. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Agree.
I strongly agree with that.
Yeah, I'll say strongly. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis.
Wait, why?
It's basically saying we shouldn't have to give if there's a museum or theater that cannot survive on its own, taxpayer money shouldn't be going to it.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've worked
kind of
at a
agree.
private museum before. Yeah, they can exist.
Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory, which I think means required.
Yes. I strongly agree with that one.
I disagree.
I've had people in class who did not want to be there, and it made my life, terrible.
That's true. I understand. That's a good point. I would only say disagree because I believe that an educated public is better, and I think that needs to be pushed. But it is a good point. Like, I could go either way on that. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. What do they mean by kind? Does that mean race, gender, or class?
Does it, if you said the opposite of that, would that mean that everyone should be mixed with everyone?
Yeah. I'm going to say disagree for strategic.
Strongly disagree because, you need all kinds of people in your life.
Yeah, I'll say...
It's like self-segregating, like that whole Latino dorm.
Yeah.
You're self-segregating yourself.
And that's not necessarily healthy. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Strongly agree. I'm just going to say agree.
Disagree.
There's certain...
Depends what you mean by
spank your kids. Spank your kids.
Give them the beating.
I kind of disagree.
No, you psych major, you.
Spank them.
It's natural for children.
Mommy would not like us right now.
No, I know. I always say in some cases, and spanking sounds harsher than it should be. It's
I've had to deal with kids before. I think there's a
time.
It's a lazy way
some
to
kids, it's like,
discipline
what else are
kids.
you gonna do?
It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Of course, strongly agree.
Yeah.
Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Disagree. I know people are going to disagree with me on that. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Well,
I strongly agree with that one.
I'd say it's more than finding a job. It's also being qualified for a job. So I'm going to say agree. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce.
Low-key offended.
I'm offended. I'm gonna say disagree.
That's a tough one.
I
Yeah,
get
so
where
what-
it's
what
coming
is-
from.
What is
What's
that
a-
exactly?
Yeah.
Down syndrome, I guess, or like.
Dude, everyone has that recessive quality in them where, they have the capabilities of producing, people's disabilities, but...
Well, and here's the thing, too,
Well, I mean,
is
I
like...
guess it'd be like someone with like a serious, like I have a buddy of mine who had this congenital form of diabetes that like, it
Yeah.
was really messed up. But I don't think he shouldn't be allowed to reproduce.
Well, and I don't think it's something the government should be enforcing. Like, for my
No.
brother, for example, who has many loyal listeners and is autistic, he's not going to reproduce because he doesn't... Number one, I don't think he knows how to. But number two, he's... Like, women aren't going to be with him.
It's
like,
like
I
a
hate to
product.
say
It's
it.
a natural selection and sexual selection take over.
What if he finds like an equally, you know,
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, but that's not...
Not gonna happen,
Yeah.
realistically. And if it does, then good for him.
well, who knows? I mean, what if he discovers a dating app or something?
Does he know
No.
the concept of
Like,
dating?
you remember the show
Kind of.
Atypical?
Yeah, I do, Alex. We're going to watch season 3 soon.
Yeah.
We got to watch that. We're going to give a reaction to that. It's going to be funny.
We gotta go through all this stuff.
We got to do that. Maybe we can do that tonight 'cause that show's funny. In a bad way. Okay, if not, we'll do another night. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline.
I
Agree.
disagree with that.
I disagree. I understand the importance of discipline, but I don't think it's the most important thing for children to learn. There are no savage and civilized people. There are only different cultures.
Nope,
I strongly agree. No, strongly disagree. Some cultures are better than others, like the ones that don't push gays off of buildings. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Strongly agree. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about, but to keep busy
Wait,
with more
what?
cheerful things.
What does this have to do with politics, though?
It's about philosophy or how you
I
view
agree
things.
with that to a certain extent.
Me too.
You know, you kind of have to.
But you also need to think about your... I mean, yeah, I'm going to say agree.
Well, it depends, because, if you're just going to keep things in you, then it's just going to blow up eventually, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I would say disagree.
Yeah, you could go either way on that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fault anyone. First-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Slight agree. I think it's second generation when they actually get pretty
Yeah.
integrated. What's good for the most successful corporation is always ultimately good for all of us. Disagree.
I disagree with that.
No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding.
I
I agree. Yeah. Next page. We're getting there. We might go over to the next hour, but that's okay. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism.
I agree.
Yeah, they are. It's not necessarily mean it's a good or bad thing, but, A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments and delay process in a democratic political system. I mean, yeah,
I agree with that. That's pretty true.
it's true, but that doesn't mean it's good.
Well, technically, is that really what's asking? It just says that's a significant advantage of it.
Yeah. I'm going to say disagree only for strategic reasons. Even though I agree with that statement, I'm just going to say disagree for strategic reasons. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Disagree
Well, I
strongly.
strongly disagree with that.
Yeah. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly agree. We don't use it enough.
Yep.
Dictator Phil is probably couldn't strongly agree with that more. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Agree. Hate to say it.
It's life.
Yeah, you need hierarchies. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all.
I don't know.
I hate that question because I don't consider it all art, but anything can be art.
Yeah,
No,
and that's another one of those things. That's another one of those questions that's not like specific enough to really give a good answer.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say disagree. You could go either way on that. Oh, in criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation.
Depends. There's so
That
many
depends.
crimes, and there's so many
Yeah.
different kinds of crimes out there.
What about in general then? What about in general?
Okay,
Well,
are
I
you
think
talking about
that
like
in general,
infractions, misdemeanors, like
most crimes there
most
of all the crimes
crimes-
committed should mostly punishment be the right solution.
What is the most general crime? First of all,
Well, most crime. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
What are they?
What is most crimes? Like
Yeah.
what's
drunk driver, he should be punished first, and then
Is that
work
most
on rehab.
crimes?
That should be a secondary part of it.
I'm going to say agree, but that one,
guess.
that's a
I mean,
hard
you-
one.
You could go agree or disagree depending on what it is. Like
Yeah, you really
that's-
could. It is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals.
Be specific
Strongly
with the
agree.
criminals. Be specific
But
with
some.
the drug criminals,
Some.
robberies. What are
Some.
you talking about? I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think think of it this way? Do you think there are some criminals that have no hope in ever being rehabilitated?
Yeah, there are some. But are you
So
talking
then
about
you'd
like
agree.
felonies or
Yeah, so you would agree then.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, at the very minimum, you'd agree.
Mm-hmm.
The business person, the manufacturer, more important than the writer and the artist.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree,
Yes.
but it's implying that because culture is important, but
Yeah.
you know-
culture is important,
Yeah,
but you can't have
all the
not when
culture in the world.
not when your economy's failing.
Exactly.
Not at the failure of the economy. No.
yeah, I agree. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers.
Well, if they're
Totally.
a mom, then that's their responsibility.
If you have a
though.
child, you
Yeah.
better make sure she's taken care of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's saying. So we'd all
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I strongly agree. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing
How
countries.
so?
Strongly disagree.
I disagree.
Yeah. I
Except maybe
disagree.
China.
I mean, there's
China.
certain ones that are, but like not
Plus,
everybody.
plant genetic resources, like that's a humanity thing. Like no one
Yeah.
owns like the plant's genetics.
That's true too.
Who owns
Again,
the plants?
Lack
I own
specifics.
them.
Yeah, that's the problem with this test, but we'll roll with it. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Strong disagree.
I think to a certain extent, I agree with that. To a certain extent.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you don't want to make enemies of everyone, but we're pretty anti-establishment on this show.
Astrology.
Astrology accurately explains many things. Strongly disagree. If anybody puts I agree,
I strongly agree.
you need to be taking a different test. I'll just say that. You
What
cannot.
was that last question again?
Astrology accurately explains many things.
Yeah.
You cannot be moral without being religious.
Disagree.
Strongly disagree, even though
Yeah.
I think religion's important in society.
Yeah.
I'm going to just say disagree first.
Ancient Egyptian
Yeah.
religion.
You still ancient Egyptian religious?
Hey, that's a pretty good religion, though.
I guess so.
We looked into it, though. Better than Christianity, no
Disagree.
offense.
Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. I disagree.
I strongly agree. I hate Social Security.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I would say probably
I don't know.
agree.
I
Yeah,
would say in
just
a
like-
perfect world, agree, but not in today's world.
Yeah.
Some people
Well,
are
I
na-
think it's-
what?
I think a certain extent, Social Security kind of took away all funding from the other charities that existed.
You could say that. Some people are naturally unlucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Some
brother's a
people are
perfect
unlucky.
example.
Yeah.
My brother is
Yeah.
just literally naturally unlucky.
Yeah, I know someone born into poverty, like legit poverty. She's very unlucky with her life, but she's trying.
It is important that my child's school instills religious values.
Disagree.
No.
Oh.
Nah. Evolution over.
No.
Well, that's not necessarily religious value. Evolution's different.
Well, what are you talking about religious values?
Like-
though?
Being nice to people.
Well, that goes for any
That's not
culture,
really
though. To be
religious
even
value.
ancient
No, that's not
Egyptian culture, they talk about being nice
Necessarily
to
a
people.
religious value.
Well,
Yeah.
treating like
Value.
chivalry That's a religious value.
Ancient Egyptians probably.
It's debatable.
Yeah, that one, I disagree with it, but I think that's not so black and white.
Again, this is one of those ones that's not specific enough to really answer.
Because people don't realize how many of our values are rooted in Christianity.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
There's ancient Egyptians.
Okay, now. We're sending you to Egypt, and you can tell us about their values. How about that?
No, ancient Egypt. Like, send me a time machine. I'll go back.
Okay.
Well,
I'll get DeLorean. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Okay, but I know what Ben Shapiro would say. I'm going to say strongly disagree. How is it immoral?
Rip religious values, Sean.
Yeah, that's a religious value that should be changed. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. That's a hard one for me.
I'm strongly disagreeing with that. Well, actually, hold on.
I don't know. I'm not gonna. I don't know. I'm just gonna say agree.
So far, I know someone who's raised in that.
How'd they turn out?
Oh, fine. She plays Mills in high school. She plays the violin. That's all I know about her. But a very nice person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pornography depicting consensual adults should be legal for the adult population. I agree.
Agree.
It's degenerate, but I agree.
Yeah.
What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree.
Yes.
I don't know. Let's say you have a brother and a sister.
Ooh.
Well, it's consenting though, but you know.
Is it?
They're both consenting, but they're both brother and sister, and they want
if that West Virginia couple wants to, have a relationship, that's no business of the government.
Well, yeah, but what if they have like 20 incest babies and then they're all like have to be put on together?
Well, that's West Virginia's problem. That's not mine.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
In the state near you.
No one can feel naturally homosexual. Strongly disagree.
What do they mean by naturally?
Yeah, that's not really a what.
I don't know.
What do you mean
Ask the
natural?
person who made this.
I think they're saying like homosexuality is not something that is natural.
Is it based in genetics? Has there been evidence that is actually based in genetics?
Oh yeah, there's like plenty, but you can say there are more theories. But there are testing on, like for example, the index finger, the 2D versus 4D. Like it's been shown, like gay men have like this the ratio of like the 2D versus 4D fingers versus like straight men. So it's like stuff like, and also I think it has to do with like maybe the hippocampus. This one part of the hippocampus where it controls like sexual behavior. So it's like just stuff like that. But it's like kind of theory, but it's not exactly like a known. Oh, and there's also I guess the mother hypothesis where
there be a gay gene out there.
They're looking into it though, but there's just like many theories of like how are there gay people out there. So I'm taking an evolution sex class on it. So yeah,
that's an important class.
Well, it's interesting though, because like when you think about that, like there'd be a 1-to-1 with twin studies if this was 100% inherited. And you'd all like another interesting thing too is a lot of like people who are homosexual or sexually abused as a child. Like look at Milo, he was abused by
I think it's a combination of nature and nurture, to be honest.
Nature versus nurture, though. Honestly,
I don't think it's versus. I think it's nature and nurture.
Nature and nurture, but the debate's usually nature versus nurture.
I know, and I think that's the problem with the debate. It's like it's got to be one or the other. Where I think it can be both or a mixture.
Well, the science community, everything's nuanced.
No, everything is. These days, openness about sex has gone too far.
I strongly agree.
Well, what did they mean? Because like the pride parades, I say go too far, but I think
just in the media, Miley Cyrus, the whole like twerking on stage,
Yeah, I guess I agree.
Music,
going into like drag shows at like age 5.
Well, now we get to see. Yeah. So everybody's got their answers punched in.
Yeah.
Okay, time to see where we stand on this thing. Bum 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 bum. You have to scroll down to the bottom, I think. Oh, I am still exactly where I thought I'd be.
Huh.
I am center-right libertarian, only a little bit.
Dude, I'm like a left authoritarian.
What? Oh, no, you're not. I knew it. You keep saying you're a lefty. I'm like, no, you're not, Tahrir. You're not a liberal. No, you're not. Okay, everybody take a screenshot and post it in the chat so I can compare them all. See where we all land.
I don't know. I think Kanye is pretty
Alex, you're authoritarian as, my God. That's a word I can't.
Actually, I dropped a bit from the last time I did this.
See, I thought I'd be more authoritarian because I've gotten more authoritarian, I felt. I really think I have. Did you post yours, Tahrir?
No, I'm looking. I'm doing it right now.
Oh, Phil. Phil, you're such a radical centrist.
He's a centrist.
Cock.
Did I not tell you that I'm like I'm as central as it gets?
And I told you, Tahrir, that you were more right wing than me on some things. You didn't believe me, and you are. You are.
To be fair,
to be fair, this test is not accurate.
Yeah, to be fair, this is not very accurate.
I know.
I mean,
but it gives you a relative sense, I think. You know? Like, I'm not far right. I'm not super authoritarian. I'm not even super libertarian. I've always thought I'm kind of centristy. And Phil, I'd say the same thing about you.
I think I'm very central. I think I am kind of, because I have certain things that I'm, that I'm left leaning about. And then there's certain things that I'm right leaning about. And it's just,
Yeah, and if I don't post these screenshots in the video for whatever reason, Alex aligned on the x-axis. He's right in the middle of the right side, and then he's authoritarian about halfway up. So he's like halfway on the right, halfway up on the authoritarian, about. And then I am a little bit to the right and then a little bit down. So I'm like a centristy, libertarian.
Sean's a centrist.
Phil's more of a centrist. Phil is he's literally dead center and then down a bit. So he's a centrist libertarian. And then Tahrir is a little bit more to the right than me and a little bit more down than me, I think. So you are a right-leaning libertarian. So the most extreme is technically Alex, then the most centrist is Phil, and Tahrir and I are kind of in between there. I'm more towards Phil, and you're a little away from me, but I think it's funny. Well, that was fun. I'm glad we got to do that. We talked about doing this, and we finally did it. So great job, guys. Did the most inaccurate political test ever that everybody does. Tommy Robinson was a radical centrist too. People call him like this right-wing extremist, and he was a radical centrist. So funny. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more real news.